I'm becoming more and more convinced that this is the most important trait that someone can possess in this era because of how fast everything is moving. Think about how most people interact with AI right now. They watch a video, they read a tweet, and they think that's cool, and then they go back to whatever they were doing. They consume AI content, they don't actually experiment with AI. That gap is enormous. The people who are building real leverage right now are not the ones with the most knowledge about AI. They're the ones who spend 30 minutes a day actually inside the tools, testing things, breaking things, and figuring out what works. Let me show you what this looks like practically. If you're not a curious person, the good news is there are things you can do to gamify it to make yourself more curious. And I think the most powerful thing to do is actually just time setting. So you can see my Google Calendar here. What you can actually do is you can put in an AI experimentation block at the same time every day. So for example, you can get it to repeat on weekdays and then 30 minutes every day. It's time blocked, it's in the calendar. You just dedicate this time to experimenting with AI. And then every single day, you can set something that you would like to do. For example, AI experimentation block. Here, you can write in, today I want to test 3 prompts on Manus. And every day you can test a new tool, or you can pick up where you left off the previous day and keep experimenting with the tool that you experimented with the prior day. The whole point of this is to actually schedule time to experiment. The reality is if you don't put it in your calendar, you're not likely to actually do it. So instead of telling yourself, well, I'm gonna experiment with AI every day, I'm suddenly gonna become curious magically overnight, blah, 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 just actually put it in your calendar and then you're much more likely to actually do it. And I've found time blocking is a massive, massive hack. If there's one productivity tip, if you don't do it already, time block on Google Calendar or whatever calendar you use, it makes your life so much easier. Now, in terms of what tools you can experiment with during these experimentation blocks, well, these are the top tools that I use. This is in order. Claude is my favorite LLM. I use it for coding on Claude Code. I use Cowork for editing local folders. Obviously, I leverage Claude on OpenClaw, and I do a lot of writing. When I plan these videos, I brainstorm on Claude. I also use GPT for more strategic brainstorming. I find it's actually a little bit smarter than Claude, so it's really good for brainstorming and strategy. I use Grok for market updates, especially macro developments that are happening in real time and crypto market research. I use Manus for agentic workflows, especially if I'm on the go. I'll either use Manus or Perplexity Computer sometimes on my phone if I don't have access to OpenClaw, or if I'm simply trying to save cost. When I've been traveling, OpenClaw's been more difficult to manage because I don't have access to my hardware, so I've been using this a lot more. I use Gemini for photos, I use Perplexity, I use Notebook. There are other tools I use as well, but these are probably the main ones. These are the main 7 that you can start experimenting with. Here's why this matters so much right now. We're still in the early phase of AI, where the tools are changing every week. The gap between someone who tested a tool 3 months ago and someone discovering it today is massive. 3 months of compounded experimentation gives you pattern recognition that no tutorial can replace. You start seeing use cases that other people miss. You start combining tools in ways that aren't obvious. You develop intuition, and that intuition becomes your edge. Not because you're smarter, but simply because you've done more reps. Most people watch AI content, but very few actually experiment with AI. Be the person who's genuinely curious and experiments. So let me pull back for a second, because I think this is the most important thing I can say in this video. AI will not automatically make you exceptional. What it will do is amplify the traits that you already have. If you're consistent, AI compounds you. If you're curious, AI rewards you. If you move fast, AI accelerates you. If you're high agency, AI gives you more leverage. But if you're inconsistent, AI can't fix that. If you never experiment, AI can't teach you. If you hesitate, AI can't move for you. If you wait for permission, AI can't give you agency. AI is flattening the knowledge gap, but it's also widening the behavior gap. This is the real divide happening right now, and it's only going to get wider. And that's why I started this channel, to ensure that you're on the right side of this divide. So if you want to see more of the real systems behind all of this, how I run my real business with the actual workflows, the agent setups, and the operating systems that I use every day, that's what the channel is built for. So subscribe for the practical guides, not just the theory.